Well, wouldn't you know, comedian Samantha Bee is suffering pretty much no consequences at all for her repugnant attack on Ivanka Trump. And the liberal media double standard apparently also applies to MSNBC's Joy Reid. Over the last few weeks, hateful and nasty blog posts by Reid from as far back as 2005, they've all surfaced. Well, she's repeatedly apologized for the posts. Her network says she has evolved, and her show remains on the air. Joining me now, one of Reid's targets, New York Times bestselling author Ann Coulter. Ann, great to see you. I'm sure none of this surprises you. I mean, this is what you and I have become accustomed to. Liberals can say anything they want about women, minorities, Jews, and get away with it. But you found some interesting nuggets from her past.
Yes, it actually went up on Daily Caller today. One was she was wishing for you and me to be left in the public square in Iraq, which I think is interesting because I agree I wouldn't want to go to a majority Muslim country. I don't know why liberals want to turn this country into those countries. But she considered that really, the worst thing you could do to us. And then in a separate post, I guess she liked or retweeted someone suggesting that I don't know if it was just me or both of us kill ourselves. And then, of course, there was the always popular calling me a man for having a beautiful swan-like neck. Liberal women, as long as we're being frank here, aren't used to that because they have rolls of fat on their neck. They're really taken aback by my beautiful swan-like neck. But the point of all this is, I mean, these nasty, nasty things that get posted by liberals, it shows they just wanted to get rid of Roseanne. I've been told my entire life, oh no, newspapers, TV stations, they're just trying to make money. It's whatever the public wants. No, it isn't. It has never been that. Liberals say much, much worse things, but they're part of the political agenda. The reason they wanted to fire Roseanne was, she used to be kind of a left-wing loon. She became a Trump-supporting, still kind of a loon. But she had a wildly popular program, and apparently it was popular with Trump supporters, whom they enjoy calling racists.
Did you see that they're trying to maybe reboot the show without her? With just her daughter, who's obviously the more liberal character, and John Goodman apparently said, "Oh, I'd be up for that." I mean, but this is the kind of ideas they have. There's the half of the country who voted for Trump, roughly. All these people are looking for something that just doesn't offend them on a minute-by-minute basis. And this show kind of had some funny moments where someone who liked Trump wasn't ridiculed every 5 seconds. So that's all it was. It wasn't even all that political of a show. But I bet, the producers, the people behind the show, they were tired of having to answer for it at various social events in L.A. or Malibu. They don't want to answer. This is a nice, kind of ugly way of saying, oh, this is off the air. We can go back to doing business as normal, Ann.
Right. I mean, I never saw the old show or the new show, but when she was getting ratings like we haven't even heard of for 20 years, to be dumping that show because of crazy tweets she was sending, she has always sent crazy tweets. This is nothing new. I mean, I don't want to be sent to the concentration camp. Yes, I condemn her tweet. But she's always sent crazy tweets that are deserving of condemnation. It has nothing to do with that. And if they really cared about offensive tweets and so on, well, obviously Samantha Bee and Joy Reid wouldn't be on air. But we got to keep them.
And I want to talk about where this party is going. I talked earlier to Dinesh about this and how everything has become radicalized. They claim that Trump's the radical, where he's kind of really pretty mainstream and wants to work with Democrats on trade and other issues. And yet we see the Democrats now lurching toward perhaps an Elizabeth Warren, a Kamala Harris, maybe Cory Booker in 2020. And then you have the old establishment figures like John Boehner out there a couple of days ago. He came out and he's still sniffing and harumphing clearly about Donald Trump. Let's watch.
I want to talk to you about what's happened with the Republican Party.
There is no Republican Party. There's a Trump Party. The Republican Party is kind of taking a nap somewhere.
What do you think about old Boehner's comment?
I hope it's not a nap. I hope it's dead. I want the Republican Party to be the Trump Party. We might start winning again. But I thought John Boehner was off promoting marijuana or something.
Yeah, he joined some marijuana board, and he said he was always against marijuana until he just became an advisory board member of, in other words, kind of an informal lobbyist for legalizing pot across the United States.
And you wonder why I want the Republican Party dead. And moving on, just move it aside. It should go the way of the Whigs. This is I think, a great turning point, as it was when Lincoln took over. That party has served its purpose. Yeah. All it did was lose elections, serve corporate interests. Now Trump has to do what he actually ran on.
Yeah, well, he has a long road to hoe there. Ann Coulter, thanks so much.
Welcome back. With this week, multiple TV personalities apologizing for crude comments. Roseanne Barr's sitcom was canceled after she tweeted a racist comment targeting Valerie Jarrett. Comedian Samantha Bee used vulgar language on her show, insulting Ivanka Trump, and cable host Joy Reid faced scrutiny as her hateful blog posts came to light. More of them came to light. So while some are willing to forgive for these actions, aren't others, but should wrongdoers always be forgiven? That is the question we're going to ask our panel right now. Let's bring them in. Bishop Harry Jackson, Senior Pastor of Hope Christian Church. Rabbi Abraham Cooper is an Associate Dean at the Simon Wiesenthal Center. Imam Talib Sharif is the President of the Nation's Mosque. And, of course, Father Jonathan Morris, a Fox News religion contributor. Good morning to all of you. I'm so looking forward to this conversation because after a week of so much hate, I think we all need to find a way to be just better, kinder, more respectful people. And Mom, I want to start with you because we've now heard apologies from the three folks that I've just mentioned. One of them was fired, Roseanne Barr. But in order to forgive, how important is it to feel like that apology is totally genuine? They actually feel sorry about what they did, what they said.
Abby, that's very important. In fact, it's interesting that that this is a topic this morning because we're in the middle of Ramadan right now, and every morning at 4:30 we've been reading the 30th and hearing a commentary. And today it ended with a saying that said, "Let them be forgiving, because wouldn't you want God to forgive you?" And that's a name of God in the Quran called Al-Ghafur, and it's mentioned 91 times, and which means that He's the ultimate forgiver. But it's His attribute, and it says that we should be saying the same thing, seeking forgiveness. Now, what does forgiveness do for us? It gives us an opportunity to turn back to our original purity in nature, that in the excellence that God created our life upon. So it's very important, Abby. Yeah,
and Father John, how important is it to take politics out of this? Because it does seem like where we are today, if you agree with that person, if you agree with that hate-filled joke, that you think it's okay, that it is okay, it passes, it flies, it passes the test. And when you don't agree with it, you think that that person should be fired or their apology is not enough. How do we get out of this place?
It happens to all of us, first and foremost, those feelings of saying, hey, they're not on my side, therefore let's get rid of them, plus they got one on our side. It's not a healthy society when every public figure is one tweet away from being dragged out into the public square, shamed and stoned. That's what we're doing right now. And, I think you asked the question about should they feel sorry. Mm-hmm. We can't control people's feelings, but the big thing is whether or not they've made a decision to change their behavior. And I think we shouldn't be waiting for somebody to mess up and then stone them, but rather give them a chance to change. And if they don't change, of course, they shouldn't be in the public square in that way.
Rabbi Cooper.
I agree with that.
Yeah,
yes.
Go ahead. Rabbi Cooper, I want to bring you in this as well. Okay. We're talking about forgiveness here and how we can learn to forgive. Is there a difference in forgiving spiritually and forgiving just culturally?
Well, good morning. First of all, the possibility of change, repentance, these are great contributions of Judaism to the world. I think the key term when we're talking about misdeeds between people is the issue of accountability. It's not enough that you feel badly that you did something. Our system demands that you try to actually correct the situation. And obviously in the world of Twitter and Facebook and 24/7 cable, it's a difficult thing to do. So if you're talking between yourself and the good Lord, that's a private matter. When you're in the public square, you don't get that forgiveness unless you have accountability and you're able to reach out to the people that you hurt. Obviously, at the end of the day, Have you been able to show in the public square a change of attitude and behavior? And if you don't deserve forgiveness.
Yeah. Bishop Jackson, we look back on this week. It was an ugly week. A lot of nasty things were said. The racist card was pulled. A lot of other things that you could say are just as bad were said about folks. What do we learn from this week? What do you take away? How can we all better ourselves?
Well, I think we have a teachable moment. Personal repentance is great, but there also needs to be structural change. I believe that we're in a moment of civic awakening, the Me Too movement, people dealing with race, class issues. In America, we want justice, but the bar for how we bring change is important. I believe the networks hold some responsibilities. They knew Roseanne was edgy. They know Samantha Bee was edgy. And I believe we need to begin to use these teachable moments, and the networks need to begin to put on some programming that show us a moral path. I think that would be very helpful. Personal and then structural change is needed in our culture.
Yeah, and Mom, though, you listened to some of the things that were said, whether it was a tweet or Samantha Bee, who wrote and I obviously helped produce that monologue. They knew what they were saying, and obviously they felt okay about saying those things. What does that tell you about where we are as a society? Are we losing a sense of spirituality where we say, you can call someone whatever you want, and that flies?
Absolutely. We are losing something, just because you can do something. In fact, just last night, I was with Cardinal Weir, and he was giving a speech last night. And one of the things he said is just because you can do something or say something doesn't mean that you should. In the state of nature, our parents, they begin to give us the moral teachings that we need when we are young. Yeah. Now, we have to look at this and say, would you teach your children to have this kind of behavior? No, we try to teach them to stay on the course that they come here upon, which is pure, honest, loving, obedient. So what's happening now? Intentions, I say actions are judged by intentions. Now, what you think is revealed by what you do. What you do reveals what you really believe. And so that belief gets to the core of the abstract of a human being, which means that something in you is not progressing the way God created you to progress if you're doing things that are wrong. So, yes, we have to address it because, again, forgiveness doesn't mean that we have to pretend that didn't happen. It just means that now you cover that, and if you see sincerity, because repentance also means to turn around. Yeah. And turn around to what? Again, go back to the natural path of human goodness.
All right, Father John, quickly, how do we get back decency?
I think a lot of people are saying, well, those are public figures. Here's how we get back public decency. Go to your Twitter feed right now, go to your Facebook, and see the type of things that you have said about other people. And then think, if I knew them, if they were in front of me, would I say them? If not, get rid of them and start over. Everyone has a say right now, even if you're not a public figure, and it changes our society when we allow ourselves to say things that we wouldn't say necessarily if everybody knew about them. Yeah.
Rabbi, Bishop, quickly, 30 minutes to each of you. Rabbi, your last words here.
Well, I think that parents, as well as their kids, should learn to shut off the social media at least once a week for a day, as we Orthodox Jews do, and get real friends, shut the thing off. Charity and clarity begins at home. I would look more to the home rather than to the government to address this problem.
All right, Bishop, quickly, last word here.
We need a change. We need to be the change we want to see. We and our children need to do, love, and feel for others. Compassion is the way, and God's love is the answer.
All right. Bishop, Rabbi, Father John, Imam, it was really great to have all of you here this morning. A wonderful discussion. I think we all need this today after such a hateful week. Have a wonderful Sunday.
Thanks, you too.
Thanks.
Thank you.